Wait, you'll pay me how much to move to West Virginia? Wait, you'll pay me how much for my pooch to drink your doggy beer? Wait, for me to keep getting paid for this job, me needs talk more goodly? That could be a problem. Let's take a look on the bright side. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the bright side. I'm your host, Bob Herzog, and once again, I'm here as a grateful ambassador to goodness. Grateful because, again, last week you watched, again, last week you shared, and again, last week you tried to make things a little bit brighter online. It's the only way this whole thing works. If you share right now to your page, if you guide others to the bright side with Bob Herzog on Facebook and YouTube, you are my promotional department. Literally. And I thank you for joining me in this mission to share some good stuff and to do it in a polished, pristine, and professional presentation style. Or not. Sometimes I can't even say my own name.
This is Good Morning Cincinnati, live on Local 12.
And good morning, Cincinnati. I'm Bob Herzog. It's Monday, April 12th. So that was me on Monday at the very beginning of Good Morning Cincinnati at 4:25 a.m. Now, wanting to control the narrative on my porky pig-like pronunciation of I put that video out there on the Facebooks and the TikToks, on the Instagram Reels myself. Most people were great. It happens. You have to talk so much. You're only human. And while all that is true, it wasn't exactly an isolated incident. This was my first attempt at the opening of last week's episode of The Bright Side. I have yeah, but ging. Let's do that again. I should have kept going. That was literally the best thing I've ever done. I'm not sure if that's my tongue moving faster than my brain or my brain moving faster than my tongue, but either way, I've got to knock that stuff off or I may have to find a new job. Of course, if I do, I'm looking for that gig in West Virginia. Country roads, take me home. Is this the place where you belong? Might be after you hear this. The Mountain State is launching a program with a big incentive. The Ascend WV program will pay people $12,000 to relocate to West by God, Virginia. You're looking at the Ascend WV website right now. The program also includes a year's worth of free outdoor recreation, gear rentals, and access to a co-working space. So if you can work remotely, I mean, dang, y'all. And now get this. If you've got a good boy who likes bone broth, then maybe you can score even more money. Bush is offering $20,000 for your dog to drink beer. The dog-friendly bone broth brew needs a CTO, a chief tasting officer. Not only does this gig come with a $20,000 check, but also pet insurance and, of course, free dog brew. To apply, post a picture of your dog on social media along with her or his qualifications and the hashtag BushCTO contest. And I know some of you are thinking you've got just the Bright Side Beastie for that gig, so good luck. And speaking of the Beasties, we have a Bright Side Beastie update for you now. You may recall our conversation in a recent episode about the wallaby reproductive process and how they can actually just say, "Whoa, Nelly," right in the middle of a pregnancy, and then things just kick back into gear. Well, the little fella that led us into that conversation has now made a grand entrance, as you see, at the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. This video was posted by the zoo on Facebook. It shows a new wallaby joey emerging from its mother Ava's pouch for the very first time. The birth of this joey came as a surprise since Ava just gave birth last year to another little joey named Pocket. Zoo staff says Ava had not bred since Pocket's arrival, hence all that embryonic diapause talk. The Cincinnati Zoo, by the way, now has 6 wallabies that we know of. Mama Wallaby and the folks at the zoo there taking good care of that little guy. But what about other beasties? Those outside a zoo, who's looking out for them? Well, how about a 4-year-old boy from Rhode Island? He's hoping to make animal lives a little better by picking up trash. Nicholas Riley is turning 5 soon, which means he knows right from wrong. So he knows littering is wrong and bad. And frankly, and this is me talking, not him, dumb. Well, during an afternoon walk with his mom, he noticed trash on the ground. And he took it upon himself to just pick it up and pick more of it up. Nicholas says he wants to pick up garbage so the turtles and the birds and the frogs don't get hurt. Man, he's sweet. Don't just throw your garbage all over. Nicholas gets that, and so do these two boys in California. Their journey began when they tried to enjoy some time outside, but they were just disgusted by trash everywhere. Marley Ginter spoke to the 7th graders about keeping their local park clean and urging others to do the same.
When the sun hits the water at Lodi Lake, it almost looks picture perfect.
No, not really cool that there's garbage in the lake.
But 7th graders Aiden Burt and Darian Cox took a closer look and didn't like what they saw.
Cigarette butts.
Bottles, jars.
So they decided to do something about it.
A glove for whichever hand you want to use.
Gloves on, trash bags in hand, they hit the shoreline, picking up every piece of garbage they came across.
We thought that everyone took the lake for granted. So we decided to clean up other people's messes.
We saw like the small little creek and it was full of just empty cups and bottles and stuff. And we felt that it was just not right to have nature be treated like a trash can.
They've already filled several bags with trash, and they say they're not done.
Absolutely blown away by what they were doing. I couldn't think to do anything like that at 13. I was so impressed that they took they had the idea to do it, and then they took the initiative to do it. I couldn't be prouder.
But for Aiden and Darian, there's more to their mission than just cleaning up. They want to set an example and inspire others to do their part.
I definitely want people to try and keep the lake clean as much as we did.
It sets a great example for other youth in the community and also plenty of grown-ups too.
Two boys bent on keeping their community clean, hoping others will do the same.
It makes me feel like we did something that no one else would try and do here. It just makes me feel good to know that the lake is being cleaned.
By the way, that was the boys' 3rd time going out to that lake and filling up bags of trash. They plan on cleaning up Lodi Lake and the nearby nature trail on a regular basis. Good for them. How about another cool kid, yeah? And this girl is going to knock your socks off. Her name is Legacy. She's 11, and oh yeah, she runs her own nonprofit. Savannah Louie shows us how she got there in St. Louis.
Like most kids these days, 11-year-old Legacy Jackson sits in front of a laptop on a Wednesday afternoon. But today, she's no student, she's the teacher.
Something tells me that people have probably told you before you're an inspiration, Legacy.
Yes, lots of people. Thank you, though.
Legacy runs Little Legacy Community Service Organization, a nonprofit in St. Louis. Today, she's sharing how she does it with kindergarten students at Fairview Elementary School.
We think really hard and we see what's really needed in the community at the moment.
With the help of her mom and grandma, Legacy organizes a service project every month.
I keep doing it so that people who aren't as fortunate as me, they get to have the same rights and equality and funness that I get to have at least once in their lifetime.
She's done it since 2016. Feeding the homeless and sending more than 3,000 pairs of shoes overseas to kids in Africa are just some of her favorite projects.
Well, me and my mom and my brother Brendan used to do lots of community service, and often I would be the only kid who would be there doing community service.
Legacy's passion shines so bright, not even the darkest moments cast shadows on her vision. In 2017, her brother, Brendan, passed away from juvenile type 1 diabetes. He was just 19 years old.
I wrote a book about how to breathe, not just for me, but for other kids if they're going through losing a loved one.
But today's Zoom lesson might be her most important yet.
One person can make a big change, and you shouldn't let other stereotypes or people who try to knock you down get in the way of what you are really dedicated to.
How great is that kid? Legacy obviously has a lot of motivation that just comes from within. You can tell she is awesome. Sometimes, though, kids need a little outside inspiration. Fortunately for kids like that, there are principals like this. A school administrator in Massachusetts is back in the limelight thanks to a music video getting a whole lot of attention.
And we're back. Remember, we made some adjustments back then in the fall. Now we're changing again.
The video entitled "And We're Back" is a parody of the hit Broadway musical Hamilton. It was put together to welcome students back to full in-person learning. Principal Brian McCann wrote, recorded, lip-synced all over the score from the musical. Now, this is not McCann's first viral rodeo either. 3 years ago, he created a snow day video that got similar attention, so you may just recognize him. Now, I don't know if Principal McCann has any musical theater training, but it sure seems like it. Funny how training just sort of kicks in at the right time, especially if you're in the right place for it to come in handy. Well, a California woman is fortunate a person with the right training was around at the right time. She now has quite the delivery story after she gave birth in a hospital parking garage. A labor and delivery nurse from a different hospital served as her personal angel that day. Ryan Hill has more.
It was 1:30 a.m. and I woke up and my water broke. So I wake up my husband and he goes, "Are you serious?" And because it was about 2 weeks early.
After laboring at home for 8 hours, then driving to UC Davis Med Center, Madison Fritter, her sister, and her husband only made it as far as the parking garage.
I'm realizing, oh my gosh, the baby is coming.
Getting to a hospital bed wasn't an option. So Madison braced herself to birth her second baby right outside of their car. Her family calling for help. A nearby nurse came to her aid, and then an unexpected angel came by.
And then I hear, "I need a shoelace." And I was like, okay, there's only one thing that you would need a shoelace for in the medical world.
Jenna Ricks, a labor and delivery nurse who had just given birth herself the week before, and her newborn son in the hospital, happened to be at the right place at the right time to help this family out.
And the nurse that had run over was like, "Oh my God, thank God you are here. This is my worst nightmare. Like, you're in charge now." And I'm like, okay, I got this.
The skilled nurse stepping in to help deliver a baby boy, making sure mom was okay, and waited with the couple until paramedics could get mom and the newborn inside the hospital.
I said, "I did it. This is happening. Like, I just gave birth in a parking garage."
A surreal moment that weeks later still doesn't feel real.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I felt like I was on an episode of This Is Us.
This timely treatment wouldn't have happened if Jenna's newborn son wasn't in the NICU getting his own treatment. An unbreakable bond formed in an unbelievable moment, also bringing this nurse strength.
It was a celestial moment, like it was something meant to be. She needed me there to make sure that she didn't bleed out or hemorrhage. And I really needed her to give me that last bit of strength to get through his stay. It really lifted me and my spirits and reminded me that I love what I do.
That's the kind that gives you chills. This next one might too. We've got time for one more to inspire. In Oklahoma Elementary School, is celebrating one of America's newest citizens. The school's beloved lunch lady and her family took the oath of U.S. citizenship. As Patrina Adjett reports, it was an emotional experience for her and all the children she helps feed every day.
It's lunchtime at Prairie Vale Elementary. Cafeteria manager Yanette Villamontes Lopez and her team preparing chicken nuggets for these little ones. An immigrant from Cuba, Yanette moving from Houston a few years ago with her family for better job opportunities.
When I was a child, I had a dream, like say Martin Luther King, right? My dream was come here to this great country.
One dream fulfilled Monday. Yanette passing her test to become a U.S. citizen. The children lining the hallways to celebrate her big accomplishment.
All the students give me hug. United USA was exciting. I was crying like a baby, and the teacher were crying.
Yanette, not the only one passing the test, but her whole family, including her husband and 3 children, ages 17 to 28.
I know everything about United States, Constitution, President, everything. It's amazing. I know. I learn a lot of history because I love this country.
She is just a joy to have on my staff.
Principal Michelle Anderson says watching these kids cheer for the woman who cares so much about them brought tears to her eyes.
I was crying, she was crying, all the teachers were crying, and we were just so proud of her. And I think it means more to us than anyone because she's part of our family.
Yanette encouraging everyone to go after their dream, no matter how hard it may be. At Prairie Vale Elementary in Edmond, Patrina Adjett.
USA, USA, how great is that story? I love it. I love it. By the way, at the beginning, I showed you how sometimes I can't say things, and then in that last story, I couldn't say the word Oklahoma. But you know what? I'm going to look on the bright side and share this story with someone you know who may very well need to look on the bright side.